let's go into a couple comments on a video that I did on finding the place where the UN was dumping their garbage. And I'll give you a little bit of backstory.
We heard that the United Nations had been dumping their construction garbage in this community. Wouldn't you know it, we found the dump site that the United Nations is using. Now, I'm not somebody who believes in the term environmental racism, or I haven't been, actually. You know, it's usually used to describe oil and gas companies trying to give Indigenous people well-paying oil and gas jobs in their communities. But I think this is real environmental racism. This is a poor community. It's largely mulatto, it's mixed race, and they don't have any power. And the very powerful world's elites have decided to hide their environmental carnage inside of their community, and they don't have any power to stop them. This is real journalism that the journalists inside of the climate change conference refuse to do because it doesn't fit the narrative, and they're too scared to.
So we saw in local Portuguese, Brazilian Instagram stories, locals complaining about the United Nations dumping garbage in a favela. We knew the name of the favela. It was Dia da Barca. Maybe I'm saying that wrong, but that's how I would say it in Western Canadian. And we could see in the background certain buildings, distinct buildings. And so we got on Google Earth and we started looking. And we could see a cross street that was close. We needed an address where we could get a driver to drop us off. And so we did. And we knew that it was really dangerous for us to be literally running through this community with our backpacks and our very expensive camera and microphone. And the driver said, yeah, I'll wait, but you have 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And so we thought, okay, we'll run out to the water. We'll take a look at what the conditions are there. And you can see in our footage, it's very rushed, but we had 2 minutes to run to the bay and to run back because the driver wasn't going to wait for us. He was like, I'm going to leave you guys in this favela because it's not safe for me. And who could blame him? So we were sort of dejected. We're running back to the car, running. It's 34-degree heat. And I said to Kean, oh my God, look, there's the sign. This is the dump site. You could see the sign sort of wedged up behind a fence and it said COP30, which is Conference of the Parties 30, United Nations Climate Change Conference. And then I turned to look as I'm telling Kean, I'm looking at him and I'm looking over his shoulder and I see where the locals are using the garbage to build a fence because the United Nations left it there. And that's sort of how that story came together. But we almost didn't have this story and we almost got left in a favela. But we did it. And yeah, we were running quite literally for our lives. Nobody was chasing us, but we just definitely didn't want to get left there. So I thought I would go through some of the comments on that. Mike O'Keefe, 2014 says, it's called the 1% rich get rich on the backs of the poor and blue collar workers. Everyone is tired of this climate crap. It's true. The elites, they don't actually care about the environment. They just care that everything around them is pretty. And they don't care about how other people have to live. Absolutely disgusting abusing the poor and this fake name of climate change. That's CanMan 5060. It's true. They don't care about the poor, right? I think you know that. I mean, all their ideas make life worse for the poor. Carbon taxes, the cost of basic necessities become out of reach for the poor. The point of a carbon tax and taxes and climate change in general, I think, is to distill the power at the top, making sure the have-nots never become the haves or never even think about becoming the haves. It's a big party and you're not invited. Sacred 406 writes, exactly, hypocrites. The UN is just another corrupt entity preaching to others while they themselves are the real problem. And then Barry Brand, 2970, destroying the Amazon rainforest so elites can stuff themselves on beef and lobster arriving on their private jets. Exactly. The food inside the UN complex in the public areas was actually less horrifying than I've seen in the past. And by horrifying, I mean not entirely vegan. I remember a few years ago when I went with Kian Bexty to the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Madrid. They were encouraging people to eat this vegan burger that was made with beets, so it looked like blood. And I think Kian was going to throw up, but he took one for the team. Good boy. Good boy.